Hi guys, welcome to Nyonya Cooking. In this video, we are going to attempt a new recipe, and that is how to prepare peanut sauce. In Malay, we call it Kuah Kacang, whereby kuah refers to the word sauce or gravy, and kacang is of course peanut. And this is a kind of sauce that goes really well with meat, with rice, even noodles. It's really hearty, it's delicious, so let's check out the ingredients. The recipe of peanut sauce calls for a whole bowl of groundnuts. Here I have them dried. I've got them at the Asian grocer, and they still have the skin on. I'll tell you why later on. But anyway, let's go on to the next ingredient. I have some lemongrass, just the bottom part of it because that's the most fragrant part, and then a few cloves of garlic, shallots, and of course here galangal. So galangal is a little bit like ginger. If you don't have it, you have to skip it or replace it with ginger, but the taste is slightly different. Nevertheless, here we also need some dried chilies. Now dried chilies are really good because you need it to add some fragrance, add some color to your sauce, and besides that, it is a slightly spicy sauce anyway. And then we need some water just to balance up the taste. We need some salt and also gula melaka, which is palm sugar, and if you don't have it, you can just substitute it with white sugar. Besides that, we're going to add a teeny weeny bit of sourness, and here I have some tamarind paste. Now that you've seen all the ingredients, it's time to cook. So with the peanuts, we are just going to toast it just to add a bit more flavor to the nuts itself. So in goes the peanuts into a pan here that does not have any oil. It's just dry, and we're just going to add a bit of heat and toast the peanuts as it goes on until it's slightly more fragrant. We'll pick it up. You will notice that the whole kitchen will smell of these peanuts, and then it will be slightly burnt on the outside, oops, like this. And this is when we need to take it out, put it into a bowl, and then soak it into a bowl of water. Lightly rub the skin, and we'll remove the skin from the peanuts itself. Now this whole skin removing process will take a bit of time, and now if you're lazy and you're saying, Chris, can I just skip this step and just move on to cooking? Yes, you may, but if you have eaten peanut sauce, you would know that sometimes you might bite into a bit of skin, peanut skin, and it gives this very disturbing taste that I really dislike, so that's why I always remove it. But do not be too particular, just remove as much as possible, and then we're just good to go. Here I have the lemongrass. I'm just going to cut it into smaller pieces. So once these are all cut into smaller pieces, we're just going to put it into the blender. I'm going to add the galangal as well, and then the garlics, and lastly the dried chilies. Except for the shallots here, I'm just going to cut it into slices. We'll move on to the blended ingredients here. So everything is in here, and goes to hand blender. After blending the chili paste, we'll move on to the peanuts. It needs to be blended as well. Now that we have soaked these peanuts into a bowl of water, that would actually soften the peanuts and will ease the process when it's blending. The thing about these peanuts is that you do not need to blend it or put into the food processor for too long, because we just want a bit of crunch and texture to it, so don't blend it into a paste. In this pan here, I have a bit of oil, as you can see, and I'm waiting for the pan to heat up as well as the oil. Once you just hover over the pan, you feel the heat, and that's when we are going to add the shallots that we have sliced earlier on. It will only take a few seconds, close to 1 minute, that you see the color starts to change, and then we will add this chili paste into the oil. So keep cooking and stirring until you see this magical part of it, whereby the oil will come out of the chili paste, and that is when it's ready to add the other ingredients. So mix well, increase the heat just to let it boil, and then we're going to add a pinch of salt just for taste. And in my opinion, a good peanut sauce has to be slightly sweet as well, and that's when we're going to add our gula melaka. So I'm just going to add half of the gula melaka, and then as I go on, I will increase the sweetness if I like it. And we are now just going to stir it. So this sauce has been cooking for about 20 minutes now, and as you can see, it's nice and thick. As it goes on, the sauce will get thicker, but before that, we of course have to taste a bit of the sauce. Get a crunch. It's delicious, but just a teeny bit more of sugar this time. Now I've added gula melaka earlier. Now I'm just using white sugar. And do not forget the tamarind, because remember, we need some sourness in our peanut sauce. Ensure that the sauce is evenly stirred. Now that the taste is good, everything is good, you get the right thickness, it's of course the time to just scoop it out and enjoy your peanut sauce. The glorious peanut sauce is now ready. It smells so good in my kitchen, and if you place it for quite some time, you'll notice that there will be a light layer of oil because it separates from the sauce itself. So therefore the oil will be a protective layer to the sauce, and you can keep it in the fridge. So this will last for about 1 week, but if you keep it in the freezer, of course it will last for months even. So when you need it, just thaw it, cook the sauce again, and then you're good to go. It goes really well with meat and rice and noodles, of course. So now is the test of the taste. So let's just have a bit. Heavenly. It's sweet, but not too sweet, just like lightly sweetened, the way I like it. But as you have it in your mouth, you realize that the sauce just flows down into your throat, and what you have behind is just these few little crunches of peanuts, and then you just bite onto it. It's really beautiful. I still have a bit in my mouth. So this sauce goes really well with a very famous dish in Malaysia, and if you know what I'm talking about, and that is the next recipe or the next video that I'm going to show, so you want to just take a guess, write me in the comment section below to tell me what you think the next recipe would be, and you might be lucky, I might show a recipe of it. So till then, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Give me a thumbs up while you're there. Share this video with your friends and family. Till then, I wish you happy cooking. By adding the coffee lime mist to your rendang, it adds a whole new level of fragrance to your dish. So if you can find it, use it, or else there's just something always missing in your rendang.